Wrestling Wednesdays presented by the Sports Hit List by the fans and for the fans. I am your host, Carl Coulange, joined by my colleague, Mike. And we have a very special guest, indie wrestler Priscilla Kelly. Priscilla, thank you for joining us here on the Sports Hit List podcast.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
So the first question I have for you is, what made you decide to go into becoming a professional wrestler? What made you make that decision?
So my little brother was actually a really big fan of The Undertaker. So we both kind of just fell in love with wrestling through The Undertaker, really. And I think we were just both so captivated by the amount of emotion that you could feel just by watching somebody make an entrance, let alone the matches and the energy. So when I turned 16, I started training at just a local wrestling facility in my town, and I don't know, it kind of just blew up super fast. And it's only been about 5 years now since I actually made my wrestling debut, but it seems like so much has happened in a short amount of time.
That's amazing. Mike,
That's
did you
insane.
have a question?
16?
Yeah, I started at 16.
So what was your first match? How was that like?
My first match was actually a tag match. It actually went pretty smooth, I think, for my first match. And who was I wrestling against? I think it was me and a girl named Devin Nicole, and it was me and her against Amber O'Neil and Amanda Rodriguez. I don't know if Amanda still wrestles, but it was a pretty easy, fun first match.
Okay, cool. Go ahead, Mike. You had another question?
Oh no, you go ahead, Carl, because my question's a little.
So what was it like wrestling in the Mae Young Classic?
That was a lot of fun. It was a really fun, inviting, and supportive environment, and I really had one of the best weeks of my life down there. Just the amount of support and encouragement you get from everybody, and just being able to perform on that broad of a platform for so many viewers it's really amazing.
How did they discover you?
I think probably just through independent wrestling, and the company that I was working with at the time did have some ties with WWE. So it's just kind of one of those things of luck and talent and staying consistent with your work.
All right, so put us in your shoes. Okay, you're about to go out for your first match for the biggest company in the world. How do you feel?
I don't know. I was so I wasn't really I was really anxious going into that match because I was really excited because I always wanted to wrestle Deonna in a singles match, but I don't know. It's just a level of excitement that you really can't explain for moments like that. You kind of just go out and do it, and when your music hits and they tell you go, it's oh, now, and then your heart just kind of drops, and then you're like, okay, I gotta go do this, and then but yeah.
Priscilla, what have you learned from working from all of the promotions that you've worked for?
I don't know. I think you take a little bit of experience from each match. Each match is very different from the last, and everything's just a learning experience. Every single match, every single promotion, every single opponent, they all have something different to offer. So you kind of just take little things here and there from everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So how are indie wrestlers now in the new social distance era of, I guess it's the new social distance era of pro wrestling? How are indie wrestlers approaching this new, we don't know when fans are coming back. We don't know when you guys will have actual shows for fans to see. How are you guys taking that, and how are you approaching it?
It's weird because I really haven't seen anybody on the independents in so long, and I haven't had an actual match in months, and it feels really weird because I haven't took a break from wrestling since I started, other than maybe a week or so. So to take off a few months of wrestling, it's very different for me because I'm used to every single week going to airports and driving and seeing people, and I haven't done that in months. So it feels like you kind of have to, at least for me, you have to get in tune with your other hobbies and interests to help take up your time, help keep you occupied, and help keep your mind stable. Because for a lot of people, wrestling is their escape, and wrestling is their it's their passion, it's their interest, it's their hobby, it's everything. So when you take that away from some people, it kind of does it's a little bit of damage to your mentality, and it's a little bit difficult because you're taking away something that so many people love. And not just that, but it's a lot of people's only way of income, as it was mine. My only way of income was through wrestling. I didn't have another job. The only thing outside of that would have just been selling merchandise. But again, that's something that I have to do at shows or online. And when you take away the doing wrestling shows, selling merchandise at shows, it definitely puts a damper on things financially. So for a lot of people right now, it's really bad for their mentality. It's really bad for them financially. And it's scary because, again, we don't know when we're going to have another show. We're going to have another, meet and greet with fans. We don't know anything. It's so up in the air, and that's what's scary about it.
Well, I definitely do hope everything gets back to normal and you can get back to doing what you love. And I'm sure it's definitely a hard time. But as I always say, this too shall pass, and things do happen for a reason. So we definitely look forward to what's coming next and when we do get back.
But I mean, on the bright side, I've noticed that you're like extremely popular. You were actually the first independent star that I heard of. So I mean, what makes you so like popular amongst the fans? Because you seem like a pretty cool girl. So it's like, is that what it is? Your personality? Like you're not afraid to like show yourself and all that?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I try to be as real as I can be with people. I don't really try to put on like this mask of I'm this sort of persona that you can't really speak to or be real with. I try to be very relatable, but at the same time, I like to, with my character, I always wanted to give people the same energy that The Undertaker made me feel when I was younger of, when I come to the ring, I want to put chills on people, and I want to, get that emotion out of people the same way The Undertaker did. And I'm not saying that I get that same reaction, but that's what I strive for. So I think sometimes you can kind of tell the difference between somebody that's kind of just playing the role of what they want to be and somebody that actually believes in what they want to be. And I just, I do what I do and I believe in what I do. So I think fans can see through that.
That's amazing. And I think we have something in common because I remember the reason I started watching pro wrestling was because of The Undertaker.
Yes.
I was 6 years old and I saw him. I was flipping channels as a kid and I saw somebody put another man in a body bag. And I was like, wait a minute, wow, that's pretty amazing. And then from then on, I've been a fan since. So I could definitely relate in terms of understanding The Undertaker and his whole character and how that definitely developed. Can you tell me what's your favorite moment so far in your young career? If you'd had to pick one favorite moment you've had, what's your favorite moment?
Oh my gosh, there's so many different ones and they're all so different. I think like wrestling in Korakuen Hall in Japan was a really big one for me, just because of the amount of history involved. But I don't know, the Mae Young Classic was a really big one. Getting brought to the ring by tampon druids was pretty cool.
Wait, what was that again? I didn't get that. Getting brought to the ring by what?
So I years ago at All In, Joey Ryan had giant penises bring him to the ring.
Yeah. Okay.
So I actually did an entrance where I had giant tampons bring me to the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was me and Scarlett Bordeaux and Session Moth Martina, and we at the end of the match we all put on the tampon costumes and we all did dives, and I did a dive off the top rope with the tampon costume on. So that one was pretty fun.
That's amazing. So one last final question is, what does the future hold? What can we expect from Priscilla Kelly in the future?
Whenever wrestling starts up again, I mean, the thing is I haven't stopped working. I've got a ring in my basement and I'm in the gym every single day and I'm staying on my diet. I'm not letting all of this stuff get to me and make me, give up on putting in the energy and the work. And the thing is I'm staying consistent. So when I come back, I'm going to come back just as good, if not better than ever. And I'm just ready to go back into the world and see all these countries, do all these shows. And I just want to wrestle. That's all I want to do right now.
That's amazing. Mike, do you have any final questions for Priscilla?
No. To be honest, I'm just kind of awestruck because it's like the first time I'm doing it. I mean, there's no final questions, like, to be honest. I mean, you answered everything. I mean, I think it's pretty cool that you're just 22. Like, I'm 21, and I wish that I can wrestle at that level that you are right now. So it's, I mean, but I love that you're a grinder, really. Like, that you don't mind, because a lot of independent wrestlers, sometimes they can complain about it. Have you ever met those independent wrestlers that sometimes complain, or like, is everybody having fun?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people that, there's a lot of people that are very bitter in the wrestling business. And it's honestly, it's hard not to get that way sometimes, because there are people that have been doing this for 20 years or longer or less that have never gotten the payoff that they thought they would get out of it. So it's understandable to some degree, but I think at the end of the day, like, you have to just stay consistent with your hard work and your dedication to get what you want out of it. And, a lot of it is right place, right time as well. So it's a lot of things. And I think that's just with the entertainment industry in general. It's just hard work and then right place, right time.
No. Well, Priscilla, thank you so much for joining us here on the Sports Hit List podcast by the fans, for the fans. Please make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe on all our content. We're on Instagram, Sports HL, Facebook, the Sports Hit List. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Sports Hit List, and look forward, ladies and gentlemen, to Priscilla Kelly on the independent scene and also on the higher scale as well.
Is there anything else you want to plug, Priscilla?
Normally this is where I would say, well, I've got these shows coming up, but I don't have that right now. So I'll just throw out my Twitter handle, which is just Priscilla Kelly _, and then my Instagram is the Priscilla Kelly. And I don't really ever use Facebook, so don't go look at that because I haven't been on it in months.
Who does use Facebook nowadays?
I still use Facebook.
Yeah,
okay, I'm guilty.
Yeah, sure,
Guilty. I'm guilty. I'm the old guy here. Priscilla, again, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. You stay safe and be well and take care.
Thank you, guys.
All right.